turn it over to Aaron.
It's Trial Tuesday once again. In this day and age, technology, sure, it can be our best friend, but it also can be our worst enemy. And attorney David Aylor is here to tell us how social media can actually hurt us if we're not careful. The dangerous words to say, David. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here. And everyone's using social media. We put everything out there. How can it be dangerous to us?
In so many different ways,
Yeah.
but particularly I think a lot of times people think that they're so protected on the different types of social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, things like that, depending on, sort of who's in their group, or, maybe if they put something up at an emotional time or a time that they may be under the influence, then thinking quickly delete it is going to make any bit of a difference. But it really doesn't, because it's still saved. There's ways that it can be brought back almost fairly simply, but a lot of times people don't really think about that. They get a little bit too comfortable in those realms, and it can definitely cause problems in really all aspects of your life.
What you see a lot with especially celebrities is they'll tweet something or put something on Facebook. They realize it's wrong, delete it right away, but people take screen captures all the time, and you're done, right?
Yeah, and you can also go back. I mean, I've seen a lot of court cases, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be, something that may be deleted off her account, or an account is completely shut down. You'll see subpoenas come in, and they'll subpoena, Instagram, or they'll subpoena Google or Facebook, whoever it may be, and then they can go retrieve that information. So, it's used in domestic cases every day. They use it in criminal cases, all types of civil cases. You have to be very careful what you're doing in that realm. Also, just thinking about it from the angle of looking at, your employer, or maybe, a group that you may be involved in and their affiliations, other things. A lot of times different messages people put up then get forwarded somewhere else, and I can see it causing a lot of trouble.
So is there one platform you would say is like the most dangerous, or they're all just as equally, once you post something, it lives forever, but is Twitter a little easier to get into, or Facebook, or email, any of them worse?
It depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at a subpoena, the answer is no. We'll also think about things like text messages and emails. Now, text messages sometimes are not able to be retrieved, but often they are. The police use that as a tool in a lot of investigations. Again, it also comes in the civil realm and the domestic realm. And as far as emails, I think we've seen even the latest from this Sony hack, where all the internal emails of the employees were hacked. Now, I don't think anyone's coming after us from North Korea on a personal level, but to get to your emails, to recover the old emails, is not a difficult task for a person that knows what they're doing.
And we were saying, I think it's common sense that you shouldn't put anything in a work email, that it could, obviously someone could look at it.
Right.
But you were saying even Google, you think it's private, it's your personal account, but with subpoenas, et cetera, you can get right in.
Just because you have a password doesn't mean that it's all secured. And even if you see the disclaimers at the bottom, that doesn't mean that someone else can't get in, and there's not other ways to get to it. I think we've all just grown up in this, last 5 or 10 years of the social world, that we feel a little too secure. And hopefully, unfortunately, when these crises happen, that it kind of makes you remember that this is still to some degree public information, and at the very least, it's very retrievable information if it needed to be, found by whoever it may be, your adversary in the courtroom.
Wow. Now, as adults, we're still, getting used to social media, but our children are growing up with it. They don't know any differently. Do you worry about the next generation and their decision making, what's wrong, what's right? They're not going to have that line, if you will?
Believe it or not, I think that a lot of children are more educated than the adults, because the children have literally, since the first time they could use it, grown up on it, and they've understood that, and they see it more. Now, that doesn't mean they don't make immature decisions, but you'd be surprised how much more knowledge they have than maybe an adult that just got onto Facebook a couple of years ago.
So just ask your kids, like, if I post this,
how
do I protect it? So going forward, before, a lot of people post emotional things, you were saying, on Facebook. Like, should we just take a beat and pause before we post something? Like, what guidelines?
There's a couple different, programs on every avenue that you can use, as far as like stopping and making sure that you want to post it or you want to put it. But it's no different than the regrettable email that you may send when you're angry at a coworker or maybe your boss. Once it's sent, it's sent. And so once it's posted, it's posted. So, I've seen a lot of people involved in, whether it be work related, maybe the church related or whatever, where they posted something at a time at an emotional high or low that they later regretted. When it comes to domestic and things like that, people making comments about their, their parents of their children and that sort of thing, the mother or the father, that comes into court every day.
All right, David Aylor, always a pleasure. Great information today. Thanks for being here.
Problem.
And we will have much more right here on Low Country Live right after the break.
Trial Tuesday, brought to you by attorney David Aylor.